I'm Elizabeth Henson. Welcome to the Messy Success Podcast, where I'm helping creative dreamers and overachievers tackle business and life. After 6 years of being my own boss, I finally unraveled a tiny bit of what it takes to survive in this amazing world of being an overly creative entrepreneur. I'm your business bestie, here to help you with all those big ideas and to normalize some of the day-to-day struggles that we all share. My mission is simple. I want more women to make a living doing what they love and to feel good about themselves in the process. The best way to start? We can't do it alone. So welcome. I hope you'll hang out with me here where it's totally okay to be messy. All right, you guys, I'm so excited. Today's episode is going to be so fun. So we're talking about relationships in business and how having these valuable friendships or women in your life can actually leverage your success. So if you're out there listening and you already have a business bestie that you appreciate, you're going to get so many good ideas on how you guys can do more. And if you don't have a business bestie, you're going to get some ideas on how you can actually find one. And I know that term makes it sound, cute and fluffy, but I'm actually talking about the women in your life that you can talk everything business to, okay? Studies show that we should have at least 5 people in our life that we can talk to about our businesses. And I mean diving deep, not just casual coffee dates, how's it going, skirting around, how much you make or what your next big project is. I'm talking about the people that know all the nitty gritty. They know the months that you're struggling. They know the months that you're on cloud 9 because your business is going so well. And most importantly, they know the emotional roller coaster that is being an entrepreneur, right? Like we can have every emotion in one day and they get it. So rather than just talking on and on about my beliefs around having people in your life like this, we are going to talk to 3 of my business besties, my powerhouses of boss ladies. I mean, these women are all 3 badasses in their own way. I'm so excited. They're all a little bit different, and I think you're going to love each of them. And I think they touch on every type of person out there, the introverts, the extroverts, the introverted extrovert, the type A, the type B. We've got a little something for everyone. So I hope you're ready. We're going to dive in. I'm so excited. Okay, so up first we have Sharon Hunley from Sharon Elizabeth Photography. I first discovered Sharon my first year in business. I remember sitting in my tiny, probably 700 square foot apartment, stumbling upon her website and falling in love with her photography. And I saved up all my money to go to one of her workshops, and I just am in awe of the quality of work that she produces. Has always been on a pedestal for me. And I invested in mentoring with Sharon, not once, but twice. And then eventually over the years, because this is 2013 that we met, we became such great friends. I mean, I'm going to cry just talking about it, but she's my mentor. She's an amazing human. And this woman gives. She gives with her heart and her soul. If you don't know Sharon Hunley, okay, she is an empire builder. She has a team of 11. She is a wedding photographer. She focuses in women's beauty. She's a private wedding editor, a boutique editor. She helps me with some of my images. She has just recently started a rental company called Back Porch Rentals. Her kind of people, they give tight hugs, but they don't pat. Don't you dare pat her on the back. They kick up their feet and they dive into the real heart stuff. Sharon is not a small talk kind of girl. She loves the simple things in life and she believes that pickles are evil. So let's dive in to my talk with Sharon and all her thoughts on how business relationships can leverage your success. So Sharon now that you're here, tell us a little bit about what you look for in a business bestie.
Well, first, thank you for having me. You know, I love you. You're my boo boo. But yeah, let's dive in. So, something that is extremely important to me, especially as an introvert, is I need a long lasting connection, not just a seasonal friend or a self serving business bestie, a self beneficial relationship. I need that genuine and long lasting connection, just like us.
I know, and you always say you're not very good at small talk, so I feel like that definitely suits you.
Oh, no, I'm definitely not. Talk about awkwardness. I'm so I'm just really socially awkward. But another thing that I really look for in this type of relationship is someone who can just consistently encourage me and push me and vice versa towards improvement. So not just someone who is going to encourage me to chase dreams. I need someone to sit me down and say, actually, this is an area in which you can improve on. I think that's really important when, just in general, when you're looking for a lasting connection, but also someone who you want to walk beside you when you're running a business.
I completely agree. And it's so hard to find those relationships where your friends will push you as hard as you need to be pushed in those times of need, you know? All right, let's dig in. And I want to hear all about the relationships that you have today that have helped to leverage your business.
Awesome. Well, before we actually dive into that, I think it's important to mention that the people that you surround yourself with, your circle, whether it's a big circle or a small circle, those people, they just have to be someone that you can truly trust to wear your name, to walk out into the world on your behalf. Especially, God forbid, something were to happen, you need to have people close to you that can help run your business. So I just felt like that was really important. And I would totally trust you to do that for my business.
Yes. So, and I think a lot of people actually don't take the time to stop and think about that. So, if you're a wedding photographer or any type of wedding pro, especially, but any entrepreneur, okay, but a wedding day is different. You don't get any do overs with a wedding. So, do you have that plan B, C, and D in place if something were to happen to you? It's like we've had these conversations with some of my friends, like not to be morbid, but my husband wouldn't know what to do. Whereas another wedding pro or wedding photographer, they know how to work 17 hats. They know how to reach out to the clients. They know how to make sure that that wedding day is taken care of if we have some type of emergency. So that's a whole nother level of business BFFs that's really essential to our survival if something happens.
Absolutely. And goodness gracious, you just need even beyond the practical like steps that they could take to help run your business, you need people who also share the same values and that can be a good representation of your business.
Yes, absolutely. You have to be on the same page. Okay, so I want to hear the nitty gritty. Tell me about your peoples and how they've leveraged your success. Because something a lot of people don't know about you is that you have had a six-figure business for quite some time now, and you don't really pat yourself on the back enough for that.
And you just said that my cheeks turned red. Oh goodness. Yeah, so I've been doing this for 10 years now and I have been making six figures since almost six figures starting in 2012, but since 2013 to current, six figures every year. And I 100%, I have not done that by myself. The only way that I have been able to improve the quality and the depth of my experience for my clients is with my peoples. For instance, my makeup artist, I started working with her 7 years ago, and I have built my business around women's beauty and a woman feeling empowered and worthy. And part of that starts with makeup. As simple as that sounds, it's huge for my business. It takes like on a wedding day, if you're a wedding photographer or a wedding planner, that day was not a success just because you showed up. It's because all of the vendors showed up. And it takes a village to make that beautiful experience for your clients. And it's not just one person pulling that weight.
Yeah. And one thing I love the most about your relationship with your beauty people is that they know how you like the work done for your images and vice versa. I mean, your images turn out so beautifully because they know exactly what you're looking for and you know what they're looking for. Did I say that right?
Yes, no, that's absolutely right. They show up, they know exactly the type of light that I like to shoot in, they know how I edit, and they know the types of clients that I work with, and they are able to excel in their services for my brand because of that.
That's so true. And you've been with some of them for a long time. You said you've been with the makeup artist for what, 7 years?
I would say most of them I've been with, well, yeah, all of them I have been with for over 2 years now. That's
So
crazy.
what this is a little bit of a tangent, but what would you like what kind of advice would you give someone on how to take that friendship to the next level? Like how do you keep them around so long is what I'm trying to ask.
Well, practically speaking, just giving consistent work. Um, I can't imagine that my stylist would still be here if I wasn't consistently showing up for them and giving them an opportunity to work. I know that's an easy answer, but honestly, that's a big part of it. But also respecting these artists. I feel like a lot of times, at least in the wedding industry, photographers may not always lift up other vendors. And I've seen it time and time again where people just show up and feel like they're the only ones pulling the weight, and it's just putting your pride aside and realizing that it really does take an entire team to pull off a beautiful and perfect day, and just by respecting those that you're working with and showing up consistently for them.
Well, and your like personal friendships with these people really intertwines. It's not all business. Like I feel like these are women that are always in your home and you definitely would include them in your actual friendship. So it's not like it's strictly business too. Can you tell us a little bit about how that overlaps?
So I want to be clear that I am, when it comes to business, it is very much business, and I try my very best to not allow any personal issues to like fall into any business aspects. But with that being said, absolutely, when you work with people for so long, they become a part of your life. I'm going to try not to cry, but my makeup artist, she has been through every hard moment in my family's life. When my mom went through cancer, when Chase was in the hospital, with Ava, with just everything, she has been there. She has shown up. And I don't know how you can't become life friends with the people that you're integrating into your business like this.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially because as entrepreneurs, our business is our love. It's not like we just show up, to a cubicle. Like we actually love what we do and it's part of our passion and it's part of our soul. So I think it's natural for that stuff to overlap. So, one more question. I'm giving you all the anxieties because I didn't give you all these prep questions. Um, so, tell me a little bit about your business friends that are not necessarily on your team. So, like me and Amanda, and some of these girls that were just kind of in your little tribe, your little powwow. How do those relationships help you?
um, in every way. No, but more specifically, my peoples, even if they're not on my team, they give me the courage to step up and to step out when I feel unqualified. And I feel like in this industry, in any creative industry, it's common to feel unqualified. And just to have my peoples in my corner when doubt starts to creep in, it's been monumental in my motivation to keep pushing forward. And even just, practically speaking, I like to keep things practical in addition to talking about all the heart stuff, but simple things like creating a referral circle with people that you love, vendor to vendor recommendations to clients. And even just those couple things has helped me, oh, so much break my financial plateaus.
Yeah, just the support day in and day out to me is something that's completely priceless. And on days where you're not giving yourself enough credit, on days where you won't say it out loud that you make six figures, to have that person that's like, nope, you're actually kind of a badass. Like that's pretty
Mhm.
huge.
Well, I love you and thank you for always patting me on my back.
Well, you're my person and you're my teacher. And I always, we talk about this, off the record a lot, but it's so important to remember the people that helped you get where you are, no matter what level they're at, or whether they're walking beside you, whether they start off as a teacher, or whether it's someone that you're teaching. It's all part of what makes us successful in the end.
Oh my goodness. Yes. You know, I know all the feels. It will not discredit all of your hard work simply by acknowledging the fact that you didn't get to where you are today by yourself.
Yes. And I think it's more admirable when people say loudly and proudly who helped them and, how they got to where they are, because nobody does it alone.
Absolutely.
Okay, so the final question, and then of course you'll be able to add anything you want because I love you. But what is one piece of advice that you would give to someone that might not have a business bestie or tribe? Because I'm truly shocked that when I've done surveys, about this topic for my Wolfpack program, my mastermind program, the amount of women that say they don't have a tribe is shocking. So, what would you say to these women that feel that they're a little bit alone or that they don't have a business bestie?
Okay, I really love this question because I don't think I'm going to answer it like everyone else will. And that's because I'm going to answer this in true Sharonda fashion. I am an introvert. And if I were to sit here and tell you, hey, I need you to reach out to anyone and everyone and ask them to coffee, I need you to show up at every networking event or vendor party because that's how you're going to make these connections. That literally gives me anxiety. I have all the feels about that. But instead, whatever field you're in, okay, let's just say you're a wedding photographer. When you show up to a wedding, I want you to introduce yourself to all of the vendors that you're going to be working with that day. Ask them for their cards. If you're in the middle of the reception and the DJ hasn't had a chance to get something to drink, why don't you ask the DJ if they just want some water? Go out of your way to be there for them. And if you really feel that connection at the end of the wedding, send them a follow up note or a sweet gift expressing how much you loved working with them. Do this at every single event. Gift your favorite vendors with your services or just a quick little thank you so much note. I really loved working with you. If you start giving from a servant heart because you're genuinely excited to work with them, that in itself is going to set the foundation for long lasting connections and they're going to be authentic. So that's one way. The other way is okay, for instance, with my makeup artist, 7 years ago, I had my eye on her and I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to hire her to do my bridal makeup and to do wedding for my wedding or my makeup for my wedding day. And I hired her as a client. And after I worked with her, I was like, oh my gosh, she is amazing. I bet my clients would love her as well. And I began integrating her services into my business. And I tell you what, my business has not been the same since. Like people know if they come to Sharon Elizabeth Photography, they're going to be working with an amazing hair and makeup team. And through our connection, I have then made just even more long lasting connections with other amazing vendors.
Yeah, I love that you brought up the vendors at weddings because Holly is like my first, kind of business BFF, and that's exactly how we met. She was a wedding planner. I was actually a second shooter at the time, and we just bonded and followed up the next day with Facebook Messenger, and we literally were best friends ever since. It really happens that way. If you, like you said, come from a servant's heart, it really happens that way. It's pretty incredible.
Oh my gosh. Yes, I have built a trusted team of referrals that I know like if I were to get married again, these people would absolutely take care of me. And I trust in that so much that it's so easy for me to market for them to other people. And I would like to think that they feel the exact same way about me.
Yes, of course they do.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing this with us today. Is there anything else special that you want to add? I'm going to link your obviously your business and your makeup team in the show notes, but anything else you want to add to the peoples?
Well, first off, I would like to publicly acknowledge the fact that we are only at 15 minutes.
I'm so proud of you.
Oh my goodness. Um, I just really want to encourage even the introverted business owners to feel comfortable enough to step out, but do it in a way that makes sense for you. Don't put yourself in uncomfortable situations because that's going to not come across as genuine. And if you're not a gift giver, find another way that you can love on someone. As long as you are loving on someone because you are just truly excited about them, you're going to be able to reap the benefits of a beautiful friendship and businessship with those people.
Yes, absolutely. And I think as long as our intentions are always what we can do for other people, then it's going to happen so naturally. And I love how you talked about being an introvert because you're going to love people the best when you love them how you truly are instead of trying to be something that you're not. And not everybody's made for the networking events and, the rubbing elbows and the person to person stuff. And you're such a good example of somebody who thrives in an atmosphere that isn't that.
Exactly. Yes.
So if you guys want to really get to know Sharon, watch her Insta stories. She shows up like every day and it's hilarious. It's one of my favorite times of the day. Sharonda time.
Holla.
All right, girl. Thanks so much for being here.
All right. Thank you. Love you.
All right, you guys. Up next, we have Angie McPherson from Angie McPherson Photography. I love this girl. We have grown our businesses side by side. We were brand new budding photographers together. We went full time, I think, within about a year of each other, and we have launched every project side by side, brainstorming every day. We laugh, we have so much fun, and I'm just so happy to have her in my life, to be my peer and to be my bestie. Sometimes you might catch me calling her my wolf pack queen. So if you don't know Angie, she's located in Newport News, Virginia. She's a storyteller, she's an adventurer. She loves TV, movies, gifts. She's got so much personality and she's so smart. She's a marketing guru. I love learning from her and I'm so excited for you guys to meet her. All right. Hey, Angie, my Wolfpack queen. Welcome.
Hey, girl, hey, thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to kick off this podcast. You were such a big part in kind of the idea behind the scenes. Okay. So tell us a little bit about how having friends in business has helped you.
So, going from a full-time, 9 to 5 with coworkers to being at home all day by myself with my dog was a big change. So, I definitely say having friends has been the best part of moving my business forward and making me feel like I'm part of a community. Husband and family members are so supportive, but they just don't fully understand like what goes into running this business, especially the ebbs and the flows, like we always talk about. So it's great to just have people who I can confide in, who can dream big with me, who can brainstorm, who truly know, what goes into running this business.
Yeah, definitely. And you have a lot of different friends. So I know you and I talk almost every single day, via Voxer or online, but you also have some girlfriends that you get to powwow with in person a lot. So tell us a little bit about how you have all these different tribe members that kind of play different roles.
Yeah, so with you, you're of course like my business bestie. Like we dream big together, we manifest together, brainstorm, and really just like test things out with each other. Just reminds me of having someone at my job. I'm like, hey, can you come over and just like run through this with me? Like I really feel like we are working together, even though we are 3 cities away. Um, and then I had an office with two other photographers, Crystal and Christina, and that gave the true feeling of like going to work and talking to people and just chatting about the industry and just like having those conversations, in person. It really, really feels like you're going to work and it just forces you to be super productive. Even though we play around a lot in there too. But, we have a whiteboard in there. So we've planned out workshops, planned out launches for each other, and just kind of brainstorm. So having those people that have, different parts of your business in mind, like for you, like we really go month to month. What do we want to make this month as far as money, as far as any workshops, any bookings, and then having like my people in person to talk about like the day to day type of things is like just so beneficial.
Yes. And I love, I have a little bit of FOMO that you have some overlap too. So like Christina's like your workout buddy. And I know Crystal, you guys have all the TV stuff in common. Like you have the blessing of having the overlap with a lot of the friendships.
Yeah, it's really good because we can go like with them. I can go from talking about being on a plant-based diet this week to talking about business, and then with Crystal, I can talk about what was on This Is Us last night. Well, you too, because now you watch that. But we can talk about TV, and the next topic we're talking about, she might be trying to do a workshop, and so we're talking about that. So it's good to have these friendships that kind of parallel, especially like me and you, like we talk about mom life and wife life and how we have to balance all that with business life. So it's good to have these friendships that have all different, types of topics that you can discuss.
Yes, for sure. I know I've talked a lot about how relationships with non-business owners kind of change and evolve like as our business grows, and they can't hang when it comes to a conversation about email marketing or
I know.
site, so it's really important that we kind of have each other for some of those conversations.
Totally.
Okay, so you actually totally got me hooked on podcasts in general. Tell us a little bit about why you personally love podcasts so much.
Podcasts are my favorite way to consume information, hands down. You and I are both busy, mompreneurs, all that good stuff. Like, but I still want to make ample time for, education, inspiration, motivation. So I listen to podcasts in the car, while I'm working at the gym and the doctor's office. Anytime where there's quiet time, I love to just pop in my headphones and find something. And it always just gets me so pumped up. I could be having a really down day and, whether it be business or life or anything. And I always find a topic that someone is just speaking to my heart. So it's definitely something I listen to multiple times a day.
Yes, absolutely. And I kind of feel like for people that might feel lonely or might not have business besties yet, a podcast is such a good place to start because I always tell people we are what we think about. We are what we focus on. So the more that we can digest relevant information, the better. So podcasts are a really great way to kind of consume on the go. So I'm so glad you introduced me to them like 3 or 4 years ago.
I'm so glad you just said that about being lonely because now that I think about it, I really listened to a lot of podcasts before, we started hanging out and before I really had this community and I was still at my job and I started listening to podcasts and I really felt like those podcasters were my best friends. Like I felt like I had a little community there. So when I got actual best friends, I was like, you have to listen to these people, blah, blah, blah. So it's really good to have at any point in your business, whether you're just starting out or whether you have a whole tribe.
Yeah, and you do kind of feel like you get to know people better, which is actually kind of a weird reason why I wanted to start a podcast because I don't feel like I come across in my writing, but when you listen to somebody and you can hear the cadence of their voice and their personality, you really kind of feel like you know them.
Yeah, totally.
All right. So lastly, I want to see what is one piece of advice that you would have for someone who might feel lonely in business, someone who doesn't listen to podcasts yet or doesn't have a business BFF yet. Like, what is one piece of advice you would give them?
I would say, and this is coming from an extroverted extrovert, to just like put yourself out there. I mean, join a Facebook group, within your industry. It can be a local one. It could be something super specific. You can attend an entry event like Tuesdays Together, connect with people on social media and, reach out for a coffee date. But just putting yourself out there and putting yourself in the way to join a tribe or start your own tribe. Just sitting in your own funk and being lonely about not having anyone is not going to get you anywhere. You just have to do the work. And that way you can kind of like, feel people out and see if you guys are, like-minded and they kind of do similar things to you. So just put yourself out there, whether it be online or in person. Social media is crazy nowadays. I have so many people I've met online across the country. And I'm just like, I want to fly and meet you somewhere. It's just so good to have that connection. So just put yourself out there.
Yes, for sure. And it really only takes one relationship to get started. It's not like we have to dive in and have 5 friends right away,
Yeah.
but that one relationship can be so powerful. I mean, just like you and I meeting so many years ago when we just started and kind of growing side by side.
Totally. Totally.
Yay. Okay. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us. I'm so excited to dig into this conversation even more. Thanks, girl.
Yeah. Thanks. Talk to you soon.
All right, you guys, up next, we have Amanda Hedgepeth. Amanda and I actually waited tables together way back in the day. It had to have been 2009. And this was before she got married, before she was a wedding photographer herself. And I remember she was very into photography. And I remember her telling me stories about Caitlin James. And I just remember when we were waitresses, I was like, this girl is going to do things. Like just the way that she worked hard, I just knew. And we kept in touch. And then she became my wedding photographer, obviously, right, in 2012. And I've just watched her business grow. I watched her grow it from ground zero on Facebook to the empire that she has today. And if you don't know Amanda Hedgepeth, she's located in the Outer Banks of North Carolina. She believes in the simple life. She's taught me so much about having a more simple life. She's an online shop owner. She is a wedding photographer. She loves her nerdy husband and their 3 girls. She has served over 120 wedding couples on the East Coast and internationally. And she loves shooting sessions on the beach. I know she's thinking about niching down to only shooting on the beach. That's how much she loves it. I mean, this girl will get into the water up to her waist if that's what it takes. She's always been an amazing educator and mentor. She hosts workshops and she speaks at so many different events. And she always makes time for what matters the most. So let's dive in. I can't wait for you to meet Amanda. Okay, hey Amanda, I'm so excited that you are here today. We're going to talk all about business besties and how relationships help leverage our businesses. So
Yay!
I know, I'm so glad you're here. Oh my goodness. I wanted to start off with our little blogging story because I love sharing this every time that I talk about, business besties. So I was launching an online blogging workshop at the same time that you were launching your blogging PDF.
Yes.
And yeah, do you remember what you asked me? You were like, how are we going to do this?
Yeah, because you know what's funny is that I feel like so many people don't realize that having a business bestie leads to these little things that end up benefiting one another. But when you were doing that, I was like, oh, I'm going to do this blogging download just so you know. Literally at the same time, it was just already on my radar. Me and Mike had already been working on it. But instead of like how I think some people think about this stuff, which is like, oh, well, how are we going to both do this? We were like, oh, we're going to both do this. And then I can promote you, you can promote me. And it was so organic and easy and it was perfect.
Yeah. And what I love telling the success story because you shared what I was doing because we looked at our stuff and we were like, oh my God, this is so different. Like,
Yeah. But complimentary, like help. Yeah.
yeah, like I looked at your PDF and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this gives me anxiety just thinking about just the idea of putting something like that together. Oh my goodness. So anyway, you helped me promote my workshop by posting it on your Insta stories or
hmm
something like that. And then in my workshop, I was like, hey, if you need a guide, if you need a PDF, if you want to see like the nitty gritty behind the scenes of WordPress and the blog posts and a little bit more of a how to,
Like technical. Yeah.
yes, the technical stuff. You can go purchase Amanda's guide and you got some sales from it. So we both won and leveraged each other. It was so cool.
Yes, I love it. I think if people got a business bestie and they really invested in like listening to that person and finding out what they were all about, seeing how are they different from me but like still successful, you can get to these points where you're like literally meeting at this fork in the road and you're like, wait a minute, wait a minute. No, we can actually do this together. We can be different. Elizabeth can be messy. I can be type A. And then like the type A people that came to Elizabeth will be like, oh, Amanda's stuff might interest me, and vice versa. Like, I have so many people who come to me and they're like, I am not type A, Amanda. I do like your stuff, but I'm not type A. And I'm like, you need to talk to Elizabeth. Like, bad. Like, that's your person. Trust me.
Yes, it's like we're so opposite, but we really get each other. And I just love telling that story to my people because I think anybody's initial reaction would be like, oh man, she's going to be talking about blogging
Yep.
and I'm going to be talking about blogging. But we totally put our heads together and said, no, like we can actually use this to help each other.
Yeah, it wasn't, we weren't both launching a course on blogging. We weren't both doing the same thing. It was different formats. I loved it because and you know what I loved even more about it was the first thing that I thought of was, oh, how can I share that? how can I share that and promote her at the same time as I'm doing my stuff? Because I just know that there'll be different things for different people out there. And I can send her some really good people who love like the messy side of stuff. Like that is like the way that they're going to be successful. I just knew that we could bring it together like that. But I love that I thought about like doing like promoting you first and not like, uh-oh, we're doing the same thing, we can't do that. I didn't think that way at all, which makes me happy. Like that's just such a gift. I feel like it's such a gift.
Yes, and it almost worked out better because we were talking about the same subject. Like if you were talking about blogging and I was doing an editing workshop, like it wouldn't have made as much sense for you to be like, "Oh, hey, here's my PDF on blogging,"
Yeah.
but Liz is talking about editing. It wouldn't have aligned. So
Yeah.
it was like it worked out even better.
I love it. I loved that. That was awesome.
Okay, all right, girl. So tell us some other ways that your business friend relationships have helped leverage your success.
So the obvious one I think that anybody would think of, and that I would say that the obvious most common thing would be referrals. And that's, people who shoot newborns will refer weddings to me, and vice versa. And then people will say, "Oh, you're going to be on vacation in the Outer Banks. You want family pictures?" Well, I'm in Richmond. I'm your Richmond photographer, but Amanda's down there. So referrals are the obvious first thing that I think of, but I think that it has to go deeper than that and past that. To get the really good business bestie, not just, okay, we're here to send business to each other. It's so awesome to have the brainstorming level when you get to that with somebody. So with me, right before this call, I was in our Voxer group with Sharon, me, Liz, and Sharon. And I was like, guys, Sharon's doing this course, and I don't think I'm a course person, but I think I want to teach something, and I'm really inspired right now, but I don't know what to talk about. And I needed my own friend. I know who I am, and I know all my branding stuff and all my identifiers, but I actually needed to hear Sharon say, Amanda, you need to do the motherhood and business stuff, and you need to do something about being a beach photographer. And I was like, duh. I'm sitting here like, duh, like I know that, but like brainstorming with my friends has taken my business to another level, because otherwise I feel like I might get a little bit wrapped up in what I think people tell me, from, I guess, educational perspective, all the things out there, like what I should be doing, what's the popular thing to talk about, what is trendy right now. Instead, people kind of remind me, these business besties, like who I am and what I'm good at. And it just it's been such a gift. I feel like my business is only going to continue to grow and get better because of that. And the funny thing about that is I think people think the opposite. I think they think if they have somebody that they're friends with in business, it's a competitive thing, but it's only grown my business. You have to look at it from a non-competitive perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. And you told me a good story too a while back about how you actually texted a couple of your really good friends and you were like, if you think of Amanda Hedgepeth, what do you think of? And all
Yes.
three of them collectively came back with the same answer, right?
Yep. And they said, when that time comes for me, I would like to learn that from you. And these are women that I look up to in the industry. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm so beside myself right now. And they all agreed on it. They all said, yep, that's what you need to do. Talk about it. And I ran with it. And it ended up being really amazing.
That's kind of what led to the life flow list, right? Because it was all work-life balance.
Yes. They said, how can you do all the things with all the kids? And I said, oh, well, you got to get your life in order first. And then I said, wow, they're right. They're actually right. I get more DMs than I do inquiries about life stuff, versus like, can you shoot this session for me? Way more questions about like, how are you doing this with 3 kids? I know you don't have daycare. And I'm like, well, we have our life in order because our life has to be in order first. And then I finally decide to monetize the LifeFlow list, and it was huge, like such a huge gift. And we launched in August, and it sold like crazy for the next month, and they still sell. And that wouldn't have happened if I wouldn't have been brave enough to ask some of my business friends like what they thought I was good at.
Yes. And we talked about this a little bit just like 2 days ago about how, it's important to just have those people that know you and that know what you're working on every single day. So it's not just going out for coffee and getting to know each other. It's like, you know, every little detail of a project that I'm working on. So I can call you or Vox you real quick and ask for brainstorming. Like, it's hard to do that with surface level relationships. But when
Yes.
we have those deep relationships, we can just spot on every single day, brainstorm together.
Yes. I think that's I love when you said not just surface level, because I think a lot of people think the more you know, the more people you know, the more people you're connected to. Like, they think that that's having business relationships, but it's not. It's just associating. A relationship is somebody who goes, "What are you working on today?" Like, Liz, what's on your agenda? I will not. I'm always like, "Oh, what's on my agenda? Let me open my planner and tell Liz right now," because she'll be able to keep me on track and say, "Did you finish that? How productive were you?" Somebody that you go out to coffee with, it can develop into that, but it is not the same thing. It's not the same thing. And I'm so grateful. I'd rather have few business besties than tons of connections and relationships that just aren't really like anything but like, oh, I know what she does, but I don't know anything else about her.
Yeah. And just at the end of the day, like today when we shared our wins, it feels so good because you guys get it. Like, I can tell Mark I had a good day, but you guys get it when I'm like, I delivered 3 galleries and did a blog post and did
Oh,
a newsletter, you
that's
know?
glorious. Yes. That's winning. That's winning on winning.
Yes, exactly. I'm like, oh my God, all I did is call today because I had the kids or whatever it is.
Yes. Yes, I know. I love telling you guys when I've done like 3 things. I'm like, 3 things, 3 real things. I feel
I
like
know.
so amazing.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I know we don't have a lot of time to dig into this, but there's one little thing I wanted to talk about because you're teaching me so much about boundaries. And I know that you get a lot of DMs from people that are asking you to share, especially like, you know, you've shared stuff for me, and that's huge. And we have that kind of relationship. But when do you feel like it's appropriate for someone to ask someone to share something, like, when would you say yes or when would you say no? Teach us a little bit about boundaries when it comes to that.
So this is like I spent like a year working on this because we get a lot of things, and a lot of them are random. Some of them are things that are very good causes and sweet stuff, and they mean well. But I don't want to share if I don't know a lot about it, if I haven't been involved in at all with it. It also, not to sound shallow, but it has to align with my brand. I don't want to go far from my brand and stray far from my brand when I'm sharing stuff. I also want to share it. So I'm really good about authentically showing up, literally as I am. Like, I can't fake anything because I'll start laughing really nervously, and it's obvious. If it feels forced at all, or I feel like not excited about it to talk about it or passionate about it, I won't share it. But it has to align with my brand too, and also it depends on how somebody asks. If it sounds like they've copy and pasted this to 100 people, and it's just self-serving, I don't feel comfortable sharing it because I'm like, well, my time is valuable. My time, even if it is just a post, my time is valuable. My voice, my platform is valuable to me. 1 follower or 100 followers. So it has to be something I believe in and I want to do, and it definitely has to be politely asked, not like copy paste. I've had people ask me to share stuff before, but they've like kept the wrong name. It's like, "Hi Sarah, I really like your page," and I'm like, "What?" I'm not sharing that. My boundaries have gotten better, but most of the time it has to be somebody I know in person, have already worked with, or it's like something that's just really close to my heart. And otherwise, I politely say no. I'm so sorry. I cannot fit that into my sharing schedule right now.
Yeah, and it has to align. And I just think that this is why people need business besties. This is why they need tribes, because there needs to be a list of like 5 people that will no brainer share your stuff. Like, we shouldn't have to reach out to Amanda Hedgepeth because she's got a large following. Like, we should all already have our people. And I'm so lucky because you're one of my people. But
Yes.
and it's like we align so well with the way that we share and the way that we talk to our audiences. So I just thought that was really a good moment that we could touch on that, because I know you get so many DMs of just random, stuff.
I know I had to ask you about one recently, and I was like, I don't think that this is like even appropriate for me to be asked, even if it's like a nice thing. It's just like, it just felt kind of like, let me just use you. And I do know how to discern the difference. And that has come though with like a year of being like, Amanda, you deserve boundaries. You deserve it. I think I really cared for a long time to just, I'd rather be well liked. So maybe I can say yes to everything. I don't want to hurt people's feelings, but at the end of the day, whether I do it or not, people are going to feel the way that they're going to feel anyway. So I just choose to kind of like respect myself and my brand first. And then I can come to you and go, I can say no to this, right? And then I can turn around and say, I've consulted with my team because you're on my team, whether you like it or not. And they said that this is not a good fit right now.
I know. And if I say no, you really need to say no.
I know. I know, that's true.
I'm such a sucker. Oh my gosh. I love it. Well, good. And you've just been learning so much about boundaries and teaching me so much about boundaries that's just such a good topic. That's why we need our people.
Yes.
All right. We're doing good. So my last thing that I have is I want you to tell us, what is one piece of advice that you would give someone who may not have a business bestie right now?
In 7 years of having this business, I really, really think, I know people want these like good, secrets, shortcuts, answers. What it comes down to for me, really, of all the experiences I've been through, is you have to find somebody who is genuinely kind, not competitive, will not end up kind of being like, oh, I don't want you to shoot weddings. No, I'm shooting weddings. If they pivot and you guys are doing the same thing, you got to be okay with that. Like somebody who is secure and kind. I think that trumps everything. I think it trumps every other quality that a business bestie could have. And if they're that, it's even better to find somebody who loves learning, like somebody who wants to succeed, somebody who shows up. Showing up, Liz we will say it right now. There's nothing more important than showing up. Like that is so important for me. And I have had friends who are my business friends who are just kind of like, they're there, but I would not talk to them every day because they don't love business the way that I do. They don't show up the way that I do. They're not interested in growing. They're okay with staying still. They're okay with their business, like not even being there one day. And if you find somebody who is kind, who is not competitive, they can be a hard worker, but not competitive with you, and they want to succeed, that's gold. Like that's the jackpot. And those are the friends that I have now. That's why I feel so good. I feel like I'm always feeling creative lately and doing so well, setting boundaries. I'm on top of my stuff. Like, I don't think I'd be like that if I had somebody who was unkind and also, wanted to bond over like, let's talk crap about all the people in the industry. That's just my no-nos. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't help you grow. So that's kind of what I would look for, honestly.
Yeah. So just surrounding yourself with people that make you want to do better and be more, and that build you up. And I think, we can see those people a mile away because they're going to be so quick to
Yes.
give and not just take.
Yeah. Not somebody who will just message you and ask you all the things and then have nothing to offer. That is a hard position to be in. And especially if you're growing and you're growing and you're growing, and then you have somebody who they don't want to put the work in, they don't want to show up, but they'll message you and always ask you, that is hard. Like, I would not consider that a business bestie. I would consider that somebody who needs to pay for mentoring or something instead. And you don't ever want to be the one who's always putting the work in. And I think early in my business, I felt like I was the one doing all the studying and doing all the whatever with some people. And then it just, I don't know, it didn't go anywhere. It just didn't feel like a really good, strong relationship. So I'm glad to have the little business besties that I do now because they are so driven.
Oh my gosh. I know our little group. Like I mentioned in the introduction, you and I waited tables together. So we go way back. And then I was your bride.
I know, yes.
And we've always been friends, but once you got Voxer, it was such a game changer because then we could talk every day.
business owners, yes, and moms, they need to have Voxer. I'm sorry, it's just a must. It's a must.
Yeah, I've spent so much less time texting or DMing because I can actually communicate with people in my life. It's so great.
I would consider it a business tool, seriously.
Okay, well, we managed to go 19 minutes without a kid interruption on either side of us.
I know. This is incredible. I can hear them on the other side of the door saying something, but Mike's got them.
I was like fully prepared and we did so good. All right, girl.
I
Well, thank
know.
you
Yay.
so much for joining us. I'm going to share all your links in the show notes, but is there anything else you want to tell people where they can find you or anything else fun or exciting you have coming up?
I am usually on Instagram, Amanda Hedgepeth OBX, because I live in the Outer Banks. So that's my cool little screen name. And I, always on the blog, got my website, Facebook. I don't do much beside that. But no, yeah, thank you so much for having me. This is so awesome. I love that you're doing this podcast. This is going to help so many people.
Oh my gosh. I can't wait. And I'm so glad to have your support and I'm sure we'll have you back. And thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, you guys, that concludes our episode about business besties and how relationships can leverage your success. I hope you will go out into the world and build more relationships or just pour into some of the ones that you have. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited about this journey, starting a podcast. I hope you will come and join us at elizabethhensonphotos.com/podcast. You can get links to all the show notes, including this episode, all the behind the scenes information about our speakers, including a coupon code to Amanda's shop, and all the virtual swag and giveaway items happening this week for our big launch. So thank you for being here. I hope to see you there at elizabethhensonphotos.com/podcast.